Hi YouTube, Joy Green 1990 here with my review and reading of One Piece chapter 1085, The Death of Nefetari Cobra. Spoiled myself and read this, still think it's a wonderful chapter. The cover page essentially is of Frankie leading some hatchlings to the sea, departure. I do think recently the titles have been straightforward to the point which I think you could say is a good thing, but I don't really think I like a little more mystery and understanding behind it. This chapter has a lot in it, so we're picking up right where we left off with essentially Cobra singing Sama. No one is ever supposed to sit there. No individual should have the power to control the world. Imu shall address two of the points being discussed, and thou must answer a single question in return, Cobra. I didn't realize the significance of that single question until the very end, and literally it made Imu jump off the rock. I mean, he was pissed. So it's a big deal. And I don't think we'll understand how big it'll be until further on later, many more chapters down the line. Who are you? I've heard the name Umu before. It could be a coincidence. One of the first 20 was also called that. So, that right there. Emu was originally the name of one of the first 20, so he could still be the same person, or it could be a name passed down families. Such curiosity tithers on impotence. It will not be dignified with an answer. Pretty much, he said, I don't have to answer you. However, those initial queries shall be addressed. D is the Munkir of our ancient enemy. In recent times it has cropped up more frequently, however, it is nothing but a faint echo. Those who carry the name do not even know its true meaning yet. This irritation only endures due to Queen Lili's grave blunder 800 years ago. Blunder. The same plan could be said of those irksome scholars investigating so-called void century. Without that blunder there would be no pirates chasing the Poneglyphs in pursuit of treasure either, for not for Lili's incompetence those vexing relics would never have been scattered all over the world. So Lili directly was the reason why the Poneglyphs were scattered. The release of the Poneglyphs was the worst possible outcome for us. So one must wonder whether it was truly a mistake or if it was actually part of some larger plan. And now I'll get to weapons. The truth, and there lies, in the letter Lili left. So Bratel was a deliberate choice to only refer to her as Queen Lili of House Nefertiti. This right here blew my mind. Essentially, spoiler alert coming up. Go ahead and divulge the full name of her on her letter as written. They've got me. I suppose there really is no chance I'm leaving this room alive. I take it there was no fib I could tell that would satisfy you enough to let me go. Your fate was decided the moment you saw the great Emu. We all kind of fans suspected as soon as he saw him, he was dead. Not surprising, they can't let anyone know the world's greatest taboo has been broken. This atmosphere, it feels sinister. What's going on? The truth is, the letter from Arabasta's ruler 8 centuries ago was signed by Queen Nefertiti D. Lili. The Nefertiris are part of the D clan and one of the founding countries. So that is why they're probably more there considered traitors, because they are part of the clan that was the enemy. And literally we see it was eyes shift and essentially what looks like a shadow come and attack him. We see Sabo essentially then attack and do fire fist. Now, this next part is hard to tell, but it confirms a fan theory of a long ago, I think, essentially that the 8 elders all have some type of devil fruit. You know, they're very shadowy, which I still think is Oda's way of trying to hide it. But to me, this confirms they all have some type of devil fruits. Smothered mate. Where did this one come from? I was hoping I'd be able to take you all in one move. After all, there was no way I could have known the hell is located here at the very top of the world. So that's another thing. They are not weak like people think. They're probably not as strong as people think could be, but they're definitely not weak. We see what looks like some kind of rhino, some kind of giant beast, some kind of bird, and some kind of minotaur, two horns kind of almost. Cough, cough. You are Luffy Khan's brother, aren't you? You're with the revolutionary and you stepped in to save me. Our cause is more concerned with monsters that sit above the King's Queen's world. Do you know Luffy-sama? He once stepped in to save me too. Ha ha ha. That sounds like him, all right. And then literally we see, okay, so now it looks like we're going back to maybe kind of a bird. Flamingo maybe? Nah. A goose. Some kind of ghost thing. And then some ominous presence in the background. Leave me, I'm dead weight. You have a better chance of keeping her. So Sabo's words, previous chapter, kind of made it seem, he was sad if he died, but to me, this is a little bit different story. He saved him initially. If you die here, we'll be in trouble because I need you to deliver a message to Luffy and Vivi. When we tell them we share the moniker of D. So that is still going to play a big part later. The moniker of D. So they are the enemies of the world, the gods. Finally know the path Arabasta must follow. She both have name D in her name. Is that coincidence or something? Yeah, I guess. Who cares? The name's names. Do you want a D in your name, Sabo? What? I love this part. I think it's funny. You could be Sabo. Yes. Sabo. Why'd you put it there? And then we see the shadow kind of thing, almost like a tail chasing them. Stabs essentially Sabo, or actually more King Cobra. Nicks Sabo by the looks of it. So there's his wounds coming from. Pony lifts. First must be reconnect. Just be blank blank raw. Fly the flag that heralds the world's eventual dawn. Nefetari D. Lili. I'm counting on you, Sabo. King Cobra! You must live on. Who's there? So then there's a peephole. This surprised me, which makes sense to me, but still. Wapol, Wapol, Wapol. He's dead. Cobra, the senile, has gone and gotten himself killed. I never liked him, but how can I celebrate after witnessing something so terrifying? Stumbled upon the biggest skeleton in the government's closet. I don't know who that was, but they will end me. So Wapol saw Im-sama too. This next part, I kind of think people knew somehow was coming later on. The round table at Consort seems that King Cobra and King Wapol are not present. We just received word. Two of them will not be attending. We are proceed without them. Perhaps King Cobra's impassioned speech strained him. Ha 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 ha. Maybe he considers his job done now that the dissolution of the warlords has been approved. Let us move to the remaining matters in the agenda. Now then, concerning the coalition of the four other nations calling for independence. Shiroshi, the conference is almost done. Let's go await the report. We don't have to deal with the celestial princes there. You okay? I was hoping to say goodbye to Vivi. I wonder where she went. What's the big deal? You'd better untie me. Whose orders are you following? I'll tell the whole world about this. So Vivi has been captured. Guest room in PNG's castle. And we see the rest of Cypher Pool 9, aka Cypher Pool Aegis now. Jabra and Khalifa. Easy there, you're being too forward. You gotta play your cards close to the vest if you want a shot at being free, You're one feisty chick here. I'm afraid no one's going to help you, Princess. Once your disappearance is made known, you'll probably live the rest of your life like a pet. So pretty much the celestial dragons would use her. Shiroshi, alright. Seriously, now's the time to be worried about others. Little Missy. So we see the remainder of Cypher pulling out into essentially the dude with the big mouth and the guy that Chopper defeated. There's another guy in the background, but I can't quite tell who that is. See word that more trouble broke out around her. Apparently she came out unscathed. Thank goodness. The punks who ended up being assaulting the Celestial Warrior that was trying to kidnap the Mermaid Princess were the members of Strahd and Grand Fleet, boldly proclaimed their victory, giving their names and everything. The guests in the courtyard were stunned. Meanwhile, at the name Home of the Gods, Fujitori's actions helped the Revolutionary Army free the slaves. And that obviously pissed Ryukyu off, so they went at it. I'm a big one for pacing. Like this to me right here is two slightly different things that's going to knock pacing score, I think. What's the deal anyway with this year's river anyway? Like a pet, give me a break. Looks like I'll have to do something about this. And then literally we see Wapol. Spare me! I didn't see a dang thing! Wapol! Out of the way, this is my chance. Move already. You'll never take me alive. Chopper, what was that? I think it was King Wapol. Wait a second, Vivi's gone. Oh, darling, I've been looking for you. The devil have you been in? Who is that young lady with you? Wapol, how much further are you going to go? As far as it takes. I'd run to the end of the world if I have to. Sounds good to me. Don't tell me you're running away with the mistress. Eloping to start a life on the road? No. But I like that essentially Wapol ended up being helpful. So, jumping right into review, we have pacing. We have the throne room, which I consider all of that with Cobra, Nefetari, all of that, and even where Wapol stuff. So that would be one. They shift to essentially the main conference room, the ground round table. Shift to where Vivi's at. We see two little flashbacks, 5, and then we shift back, so 6. If you got rid of the two little flashbacks, it's not bad, 4, but still, the fact that they're two separate parts to me says, hey, they are separate. So if you gotten rid of, like, I feel like they didn't particularly need the round table stuff. I feel like this could have really been a good 5. But for me, I mean, it docked it down to, I want to say a 3. I'm feeling a 3. 6 isn't bad, but still, it just doesn't. Some of the pacing. The first half was really good. The last half is kind of where, sure, I did like kind of going over stuff. I thought that was cool. But yeah, no. So to me, pacing is 3. Character. There's a lot for character here. Nefertiri. The fact that he was trying to play ball, he was trying to in some way manipulate the 5 elders, and he did not reveal Lili's name until the very end. And the fact that he's willing, he knows he's going to die. He's already like, hey, I'm going to die. But then as he's getting taken out, essentially, and Sabo's helping him, he's still focused on saying, look, he thinks it's important enough. The last words he said, tell Vivi and Luffy we share D. That is big enough. So we still don't know the full secrets of D. Nefertiri, the fact that, so for me, it was his character, the fact that he's willing to go out and say what he's got to say to the last words. So that to me is impressive. Aim Sama, character. He's as kind of as we expected. He's strong, egotistical. I mean, literally, he chooses not to answer some questions, but the same way, he has a wealth of information. And so he is more than likely Eam from 8 centuries ago. The fact that he's like, oh, you have the same name as one of, boom. He has abilities, strong abilities, and there was more to the fact that he truly does not, he truly views the Nefetaris as a traitor because they are part of the D clan. The 5 elders, character. They're strong. They have devil fruits. To me, those are the 2 big things that stand out. They took a hit from the Fire Fist, mostly in its case. We're still not seeing all the devil fruits. I still think there's some hidden meaning there. Sabo. He's willing to try to save Nefertiri time and time again. Yeah, things worked out from the end, he said, but still, his true character is he genuinely cares and he's trying to save Nefertari. That to me is a big plus for his character. There's a lot here. Wapol. Wapol is a coward, but he's not gonna just, he doesn't wish, and he's a jerk, but he doesn't wish ill on him. He doesn't want them to die. And so the fact that he's crying for Nefertari and the fact that he realizes his life now essentially is done. But in all this, then he rescues Vivi unintentionally, but he could drop her off and he chooses not to as he's running away. So props for him. Vivi. She's worried about others. We've always known this. Vivi's a good person. But the fact that even in her own situation where she's been hang-tied and arrested, essentially worried about others, and she's still focused on escaping. Good for her. Two side notes I'm going to call. I'll do it for story wise, not for character. So we'll skip essentially. That to me is it for. No, let's do Cypher Poll ages 9 as a whole. The last members of 9 and now 0. They're still essentially willing to do whatever it takes. Government orders, no questions asked, and they don't see anything wrong with that. So the thing for me, big ones for me said were Sabo, Nefetari, Emu, the Elders, Wapol, Vivi. There's a lot there. There's some minor stuff that happened, so I wish it could have been better, but I would still say character, we're sitting at a 4. Not where I think it could be better, but 4. Story. Oh my God, there's a lot for story. Story right off the bat, regardless of all the other stuff, is going to be a 5. The fact with jumping right in, Eames' name, king from 800 years ago, had that name. Boom. D. Arabasta is a clan member of the D. Lili essentially somehow allowed the pony lifts to be spread throughout the world. Nefetari dies. Sabo sees Eam and hears a conversation, escapes. The Goros say have devil fruits. That's a big deal. They're not just weaklings. I think eggheads are going to look a little more enticing depending on which one the grandpa guy has. Wapol sees everything. Doesn't hear everything, but he sees him, which essentially means they're going to be chasing him down. Vivi was captured. Going to essentially be a celestial pet. More likely Eames. They probably don't. Cypher for Ages probably doesn't know why, but essentially they know they had to capture her. Now the two that I didn't talk about in character. Story-wise, you essentially have Kyugu and Fujitora. Fujitora's trying to protect the slaves. Still doing his job, but protect the slaves. Kyugu's not having that, so there's going to be more conflict later going forward. The Straw Hat Grand Fleet, Sai and Leo, officially come out and say, we are pirates. And so they are probably going to be essentially chased now. But this could be leading up to the big event. If this isn't the big event, the Straw Hat Grand Fleet was part of. That's 10 right there. Wapol escapes with Vivi. So there's 11, which for me, giving it a 5.55 doesn't seem like a good thing, but there's a lot of information here. This is a story dump. Yes, it would be nice to see more, but those 11 things we got, to me, enough is more than enough. 5 out of 5, a 4, a 12 out of 15. Typically, one of my I typically give like a 12.5 or a 13 out of 15. Pacing for me was a bit characters. There was good stuff there, and story, however, blew me out of wise. The biggest thing for me was the pacing. There was a lot of stuff that was jammed in. I didn't think we needed it all. Wonderful chapter. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen next. So we got a little of the D, not as much as we were probably hoping. I could see this wrapping up, maybe flashback next chapter, if not, the one after that, and jumping back to Egghead. I could see that. 2 more chapters, and then break, and then boom. So this has been Jolly Green 1990 review of chapter 1085 One Piece. Let me know what you think. Bye, YouTube.